talking about whether or not a core, a nucleus, is developing with the Giants and what their ceiling is this year. I want to answer that one too. What's the ceiling? Because that was asked of me last week, and it's not a two-part question, but it has two different answers, depending on how you define that. But let's go to Mike in the city. Hey, Mike, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What are you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh, Mike, come on, man. Tell me your phone is still active. Did you not pay the bill? Mike, can you hear us? Yeah, damn it.
I can hear you guys.
Okay,
there you go,
all
Mike.
right. Now
Talk
we
to
hear
me.
you. Now rock and roll. What'd you want to say?
Oh, man. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm happy that you guys are talking about the Giants and shedding some lights on them and not waiting till the postseason or until, things really get hot after the All-Star break. I appreciate that. I just want to say, look, I don't got a chance to call in Bonte and Shasky in the morning, but Bonte, you did not want to cover the Giants at all. You slept on the Giants. You did not want to hear one thing about the Giants, but look at them now. They're hot. And I just want to say, I don't know why the fan base got this big obsession with trying to sign a big-name player. I am so happy the Giants did not sign Carlos Correa this offseason. We getting that same production from Mitch Haniger, and he hasn't even played all that much. You know what I mean? I'm just so happy the Giants have figured it out. They hit that groove. They got a young core. I'm so excited for the future. And that's all I got, man. I'm just saying, thank you guys for covering the Giants and keep covering them.
All right, Mike. Appreciate it,
Thanks,
man.
Mike.
You don't have to ever worry about that here. You don't ever have to worry about that here. But it's funny. You bring up Haniger, and it's like he's one of the few guys where you're like, dude, come on, catch up. I want Haniger to get going a little bit. I know he had a crazy, awesome weekend last weekend, but it's tapered off a little bit. All in all, I don't think he's hit his stride yet, even though I do think he's a really good player. But bottom line is this: that lineup now comes at you. It comes at you and stays with you a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not.
Dead spots.
Well, sorry to say it this way. It's not like a Little League lineup. You know what a Little League lineup is like.
Yeah.
You got 12 players, and you're like, we got our 4 boppers, and we got to score runs when the 4 boppers are up, because then we're going to have 6 players who won't swing the bat, or they're terrified of the ball, or whatever. And the Giants lineup felt like that sometimes. Not that they were scared of the ball, but it felt like, as you put it, dead spots.
Yeah.
They don't have that right now. And so that is incredibly exciting. This is what they've been waiting for. Now, to answer his question, why is the fan base obsessed with a high-priced player? I don't think they were obsessed with a high-priced player. I think that the fan base has become obsessed with a player they can follow.
Yeah.
A player they know.
A player that they're excited to watch. How about that action, Mark?
The easiest way to do that is to pay for somebody.
Yeah, a known commodity.
Now, that does not guarantee that person's going to play well. In fact, I think as we've detailed, it usually doesn't work when you do that. But even though I'll say that, I'll be the first in line on the Shohei bus this offseason if that was something that Ohtani wanted to do. I definitely think there are moments where you break the bank and you go out there and do it. But all this fan base wants is they want players who you were like, I know they're going to be there most nights. I've heard of them. I can root for them. I just want to be able to grab onto something and hang on to it for a second. And the Giants ended up in a spot where for a year and a half, they offered almost none of that.
And even though now they're starting to offer it, it still has not really made that transition into the general public because tickets are still wildly available. Attendance is still the lowest it's ever been at that park, aside from the pandemic year and the cardboard cutout year. So even though they do have somewhat of a young core now, the general public has not yet bought into or glommed onto what the Giants are putting down. And maybe the summer is that time. And if you look at the record now, 32-30, almost the epitome of mediocrity. Fangraphs gives them a 48.7% chance to make the playoffs.
I'll take that right
which
now.
Which is pretty
That's
good.
That's great. 50-50 is great.
There are 5 teams, 3 in the West and then 2 in the East, that are all seen as the big wild card chasers. You've got the Mets at 47, the Marlins at 48.8, the Padres 53.7, the Diamondbacks 64.7, the Giants 48.7. So 5 teams competing for 3 spots. That's giving the Dodgers the West.
Right.
That's giving the Braves the East.
I kind of reject it a little bit, though. Like, if you ask me right now, because you said it's the same odds for the Giants and the Marlins. And I get why it's the same odds, because the Marlins actually have a record that's 3 games better right now.
Yeah.
But, oh, God, the Giants have a way better chance of making the playoffs than the Marlins. The Marlins, if you dive into if you dive into the analytics of it, and I know that's what they're doing. Like, why do the Padres have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Giants? They're behind them.
Right. They've got a 5% better chance. The Diamondbacks are ahead of all these teams, and they have a way worse chance than the Dodgers.
Right, because you're factoring in both, where they are.
And it's past performance of the players involved.
Past performance and deeper analytics.
Correct.
Like the Marlins have a huge negative run differential, but they're on a 6-game win streak. Okay, let's give them a 48% chance. I don't think it's sustainable. It's not going to last. The Marlins are not that good of a baseball team. The Giants aren't a great baseball team.
Right, and the run differential would indicate the Marlins are a -24. They should be 31-32. So they are 4 games better than what their run differential indicates. The Giants are a +10. They should be either 31-31 or 32-30.
Exactly what they are.
They should be exactly what they are. So,
however, though, I do give a nod in situations like this where you're like, okay, but where did these teams come from? What were the Giants at their worst? Weren't they like? I feel like
4
they were
below,
7.
I think.
No, it was more than that. It's got to be more than that.
You talk.
Yeah,
It usually works better that way.
Well, if you're 32-30, but you were like 7-14 or whatever they were. And then, here comes Haniger. You've got some health.
True.
Logan Webb got off to a wobbly start. Now he's consistent. I think they still need to tighten some screws with their starting rotation. There's no question about that. This Brebbia opener thing is really wobbly. It's not great. And DeSclafani is tapering off. Cobb struggled today. He's struggled a little bit in recent weeks, even though he's been great this year. Alex Wood is now hurt, like Manaea and Stripling, either wobbly or hurt. So that depth is not what we thought it was. Either some guys need to start pitching better, or do Harrison and Keaton Wynn come up, or do you go acquire something when you get to the deadline? You got to tighten those screws. But if they do, man, it's starting to look like
more sustainable.
Sustainable. Yeah. That's what looks so good about them right now.
They've been 6 below 500 thrice this year.
Okay.
The last time of which they were 17-23 when they got walked off by Arizona in a 2-1 defeat. So they've gone from 17-23. They've won 14 of 21, which is 667 ball.
Okay.
And
17 of 21, and now they're 32-30. So that would be.
They were.
You said they were 17-23,
right? So
and now
they've
they're 32-30.
They've gone 14-7. Oh, sorry, it didn't show up the baseball reference. The latest victory.
The victory today. So 15-7
since then.
That's really good baseball.
Yeah, it's good enough baseball to get you back slightly above 500.
Yeah.
Now, if it really is sustainable, then you handle a bad Chicago team, and then you go to a still weak St. Louis team, and you win that series.
They're getting better, though, but yeah.
They are, and you mentioned positive run differential, even though they're in the cellar.
They're not a bad team.
No, but these are series that if you're going to fancy yourself as a real threat, these are series that you win.
Well, especially with what's coming up after that. What's coming up after that is I know, ready? NL
games,
West Division Baseball. How about that? So, once they leave St. Louis, it's going to be 3 in L.A., 4 against San Diego here, 3 against Arizona. So here we go. Let's see it. That's what? 3, and 4. That's 10 straight games against the teams that are supposedly the other competitors in your division. Let's get it on.
It's the last time you see the Dodgers until
September
21st. Golly. The Niners will have 2 games under their belt. By the next time they face the Dodgers. You can call it wild.
Oh.
I think it's stupid, Mark.
Yeah. By the way, after those division games, roadie to Toronto and New York for the Mets. So there's some big time baseball coming up here between now and the 4th of July. And so, you navigate that and play well in that stretch, then I think you solidify yourself as one of the teams that's going to have a shot at this thing.
Yeah, and you could even extrapolate this all the way into the All-Star break, because you've got 3 in Seattle and 3 with Colorado here. Those feel like they should be series that you win. So can you be 2 games above 500 when you take the All-Star break on July 9th? That really, I think, is about the goal, considering
Interesting.
what you said.
You're only asking for 500 baseball between now and then.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at it, because at LA for 3 and the Padres in Arizona for 7 back here, that's in that 10-game stretch.
I would take
5 and 5.
I would take 5 and 5 there, but the rest of it, although I grant you Toronto and the Mets, if you're going to have home series against the Cubs and the Rockies, and you're going to have the Cardinals in there, I'm hopeful that they can go over 500 during that stretch.
I'm also hopeful
it's
of
baseball.
that. But all I was saying is, if you are sitting 2 above heading into the All-Star break, you're probably in a similar spot that you are now, which is maybe a game out of the wild card, very much still alive in the postseason.
Totally. Charles in South City here with Willard and Dibs. Hey, Charles, what are you doing?
I'm currently listening to you guys. How you guys doing today?
Fantastic, bud. What's cooking?
Hey, bud.
Yeah, bud.
I got 2 things for you. I'll give you the veggies and then I'll give you dessert at last. So the Giants, the way I see it, this is a nice little core. Working. It's a work in progress right now. But so far, I buy this stock. I like how we're calling up Schmidt, Bailey, how they're producing right now. And to be honest, I don't get me wrong, but it's kind of good to see the young guys struggle a bit. That way they know how tough times is like in the majors and the way they can get out the slump. So, like I said, I definitely buy this stock. I love the way this team's going. And today it was an elevation sensation in Colorado. That's always good to see. Here's your buck, and here's the dessert. Sour cream, ick. Sorry, Dibs. I just don't know. I don't know how you like. I don't know how you like it, man.
That's what I'm talking
Sour
about.
cream, I can't do it.
Yep.
How old are you, Charles? 13?
I'm 20.
Thank
I'm
you.
20, man.
Hey,
You're 20.
you'd be nice
The
to
defense rests. Charles, thanks for calling, and
our defense rest.
good luck running for president in 15 years.
Well, I mean,
My assessment was that you are a child because you don't like sour cream.
You be nice.
Charles is 20.
You be nice.
He is
to
also
our,
a child.
You be nice
the defense
to
rests.
our younger listeners. Dibs.
I was nice to
I know
him.
you have a hard time relating to people who haven't had AARP send something to them in the mail. However,
first of all, I
you be
resent
nice
when
to
you
them.
slow down your tone.
Well, I want to make.
I feel like you're talking
I
down
don't want
to
to
me.
be too quick for you.
Don't tell me to slow down. And secondly, I know you have gotten some AARP literature sent to you. And
Not
if you
true.
haven't,
That's not
check
true.
your mail today.
I did.
Because they don't give a crap about being 55, let alone 50. They're coming for you. They want you early.
Not yet. Looked in the mailbox and it's not that busy, man.
Let me just
It's
send a
not
quick
that
memo
busy.
to the people at AARP. Your savings aren't good enough to where I'm going to sign up when I'm 48, let alone 54.
Okay.
I'm not going to rush into joining your organization. Okay?
When do you turn 55?
Pretty soon, dog. August. That's right. You know it's August 15th. You know the day.
I actually knew that one.
Kyle and I share our birthday. Yeah.
How many Giants deserve to be on the All-Star team?
Laugh at him.
Who's going on the All-Star team for this? You talk about the All-Star break. Who's in the Star team here?
Doval.
I think Doval's
for sure.
Doval's a lock. Doval's your only lock. I would say.
Right.
But give me any other names you think should be under consideration.
It was a consideration.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because I've been watching too much Giants baseball of late, and I was in need of a closer. And when I tell you to guess who the closer of the week is, we selected a certain late night left-hand hitting first baseman who's had a good little run, Lamont Wade Jr.
Dude, he's playing great.
I think he's got a real chance to be an all-star.
It's interesting though. First base is a little
It's
bit
always
harder.
tough. You're right.
Yeah, first base
You're
is a
right.
little bit harder than who the other two candidates are in terms of their position, I would say. The other two candidates are going to be Tyro Estrada and J.D. Davis. Although, let's stop and think about that for just a second. Casey Schmidt has come over and come up and been the guy who's captured the imagination of the fan base. The rest of the infield are all potential all-stars. Like, who saw that? The whole infield. I don't think they're all going to go. It doesn't work that way. But you can easily pass the rest of the infield to the all-star team, and nobody would even bat an eye. And that's with Brandon Crawford essentially hitting
Right.
under 200, and Carlos Correa is playing for the Twins. Like, go back to that day when that whole thing fell apart.
Man.
And if I had said to you, dude, there's a kid coming who you're going to love, and the rest of the infield is going to be on the All-Star team, you'd have been like, what? The hell are
Estrada,
you talking about?
17th in the National League in hits.
Yeah.
And he's got an 825 ops, his OPS.
I've got him at 863. Oh, that might be updating today because he had a good day today.
He did.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
this
had a
is
homer.
according to ESPN. And J.D. Davis with 57 hits. He may have more than that now. And an OPS
57.
of 863.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean, you've got guys with impressive numbers. The one thing that hurts their chances of getting multiples on the All-Star team is they're mediocre, 32 and 30.
Yeah, and these are no-name guys to the rest of the world.
Right.
Nobody knows who, Lamont Wade is. Even Tyro Estrada. J.D. Davis played in New York. Maybe some people know him. But again, those OPS numbers for all three players are well over 800. And in fact, Lamont is dancing around close to 900.
Man.
His on-base percentage is .419. That is banana land. Dude, he has been fantastic. And the only reason he would potentially not make it is because first base is so crowded. You know what I mean? Who do you got to beat in the National League? Goldschmidt? I mean, there's some...
Freddie Freeman.
Leads
the National League in OPS at 970. Lamont Wade is 10th in OPS at 887.
But just the names. You know how the All-Star works.
Goldschmidt's right behind him at 876. Pete Alonso, good little player.
Pete Alonso.
Matt Olson is the first baseman. Spencer Steer. I've been sleeping on Spencer Steer.
Me too.
847 OPS.
What is he on your fantasy team, Grandy?
Pretty
Come on,
much.
go Ducks.
Yeah,
Spencer
go
Steer,
Ducks.
proud
There you
Oregon
go.
alum.
All right.